Hi, Happy New Year. Welcome to a terribly lit vlog. I do apologise. I put the big lights on and it was like Blackpool illuminations. I've got the little lamp next to me, but it looked a bit like I was being interrogated when I had it full on in my face. I felt like I was, like, I don't know, I'd been caught in the Great Escape or something like that. It was a bit weird. That's paint, by the way. I thought that was a hole for a second. Yeah, so Happy New Year. Welcome to 2019. And I thought I'd kick off with is kind of similar to a bit of a rant I've had before, but bear with me because it is a slightly different theme, okay? It's to do with understudies, and I know that you all know how I feel about understudies. You know, don't get snotty with me when it comes to covers because there are some phenomenal performers out there, and I will fight anyone who gets really shirty about the fact that they are seeing a cover rather than a star. Um, yeah, I've mentioned it on more than one occasion, and as you can see by my wall of musical theatre postcardy type things, I'm a big fan of musicals. And in many of the things that I have seen that I have commemorated on this wall have been covers that I've seen on more than one occasion. And I've got to be blunt, on more than one occasion, I think I preferred them. So, you know, hey ho. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is kind of similar to that, but also is in relation to the fact that Mum and Dad went into Grandpa's loft the other day and found something which I have decided to keep, and I'll tell you for why. So here we go. So this is what they found. A little monogrammed suitcase, which we think it's got his army number in, so it must have been from like 54, 55, something like that. You know, if I show you inside the lid, which I don't know if you can see for the lighting, but it, yeah, number, name, all the rest of it, address of a place that he hasn't lived at for years. And what we found inside was quite funny, really, because it reminded me a lot of a bag that I have in my bedroom cupboard. I have a bag full of programmes. And I happened to be going through these the other day, and I had to chuckle because I was sat there going, oh my god, I saw them. This is the person I saw. I knew I'd seen an understudy in that role or whatever, but I didn't realise it was them. And, oh, I loved them. I thought I'd only seen them in one thing, but actually I saw them in such and such a thing as well. Insane. You know, it's crazy how much it jogs your memory. So I'll start off with mine, and then I'll come back to this because there are some crackers in that box, okay? Now, it's no secret how much I love understudies, and I have been very, very vocal about one of my favourites, which is when I went to go see Bat Out of Hell for my birthday treat to myself, and I saw a certain Mr. Jordan Luke Gage, who about 3 weeks later landed the role full-time in Strat as the star. And I mean, that show's closing on Saturday, and I'm really, really like bummed out about it. And I'm kind of devastated for Jordan that he got his like moment in the sun, and then they announced it was closing not that long after, because it's a phenomenal show. And incidentally, this morning when I was wanting to get revenge on my neighbours for setting fireworks off in the street till 1 in the morning, I decided to choose the Bat Out of Hell soundtrack to play at full volume in my car with the windows open while I rev the engines in the street. Yay! Thank you very much, Jim Steinman, for your help in this matter. Yeah, anyway, slightly digressed there. But, you know, understood it, and if I hadn't have got the programme, would I have necessarily recalled his name? I mean, I probably would, because I loved him, and I made a right conscious effort to work out who he was, if he'd been in anything before, what he was doing next. I even wrote him a letter, which until Saturday will hang on the wall in the star dressing room of the Dominion Theatre, which is just insane, but I'm also devastated that it's going to have to come down on Saturday, so I'm a bit gutted about that, but, you know, what can you do? Yeah, anyway, keep your programme, because also, when I was perusing through it while I was sat in my seat, waiting for Strat to jump in the air and land and start the show and basically give me a heart attack, I was looking through the cast list as you do, like, Christian Benton, Rob Fowler, blah blah blah. Yeah, Jordan Luke Gage. Oh yeah, I see he's gonna be Strat today. And then I was sat there thinking, I know that name, and it was Wayne Robinson. And by sheer coincidence, twice before, when I had been sat in the same seat at the Dominion Theatre, I had seen him in We Will Rock You. I slightly have a suspicion that he has never vacated theatre in the in-between times, and he just sort of mooches down the corridors awaiting a show. But yeah, so I started thinking, I know that name. So I looked it up when I got home and realised that it was who I was thinking of. I had seen him before. I had seen him in We Will Rock You. And yeah, so it was really useful for me that I had the programme from before, which is why, moral of the story, keep hold of these. Keep hold of your programmes, okay? Because it's fascinating to look back on and see who you have actually seen. Now, as you... God, that went really weird, didn't it? As you all know, I am a big fan of Matt Blaker as Raoul in Phantom of the Opera. As much as I love Nadine and Amanda, don't get me wrong, I mean, Matt was phenomenal. I'm also devastated I never got to see Luke McCall as the Phantom, but I mean, he's only young, he'll probably go back to it at some point in the starring role full time, in which case, get me down to the layer, frankly. Bye, yeah. Anyway, lost my train of thought there. I was perusing through the Phantom of the Opera the other day, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've definitely seen Luke McCall in Phantom, and I'm looking through the most recent programme. I was like, yep, Luke McCall, there he is. He was in the cast when I went to go see it for the final time before the cast change, where Nadeem and Matt and Ben Forster left. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then I was also looking through Les Mis commemorative, like, brochure, if you will, and I'm flicking through, I'm thinking, whose face do I recognise here? Yeah, I don't know if that works because I can't see. That is Luke McCall himself. I realised I'd seen him as a swing in Les Mis. You know, I was too busy going crazy over the fact that Phil Daniels was on stage and Craig Mather had rejoined the cast. But no, lo and behold, as I was flicking through and looking and thinking, yeah, saw them, they're my one. Yep, saw them, they're my one. Oh, yep, there he is. Whoa, who's stopping the barricade? Like, it's amazing who you don't actually realise you've seen in things until you go back and think about it and look at them. West End Live this year, when I heard that Little Shop of Horrors was performing, I knew Matt Willis had been cast as the dentist, but I didn't think he'd be there, but he was, which was phenomenal. But there's a little bit of me that was like, oh, I thought we'd have Seymour and Audrey, and we'd do Suddenly Seymour, because that's the song that everybody kind of really knows from it. I thought that we'd have Mark Antolin out being Seymour, and I really like him. He's in, if you ever get a chance to watch it, or you ever stumble across it on like Sky Arts or one of these things, which is where I saw it first, watch From Here to Eternity, the musical. Because honestly, I was roaring at the end because I'd forgotten it was Pearl Harbor, and I was so gutted when they all died. But he's really, really, really good in From Here to Eternity. Like, so good. And then last week, as I say, when I was flicking through programmes, and I'll bring up another Here's One I Made Earlier, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, Matilda. Yeah, Matilda was good. I liked Matilda. Who did I see? Oh, yeah, Steve Furster, Hayley Flaherty, she was good. He played Miss Trunchbull, jolly good, yep, liked them. And then I was like, oh, your horses, Rodolfo, Mr. Mark Antolin. What? I've seen him. And then I was looking through, and I'm looking through the pictures, and I'm going, that is him. That is him. That is the one. I didn't even realise I'd seen someone that I'd admired on a DVD recording. Didn't realise I'd seen them in the flesh. It was only through perusing it after the event. There he is. Hello. That's really bad light, isn't it? I'm trying to waver it now. But yeah, I didn't realise I'd seen him in the flesh until I was flicking through that. And if I hadn't have kept my programme and wasn't one of these geeks that goes through it every now and then just to see who's appearing, I would never have known that. I would never in a month of Sundays have guessed that I would have already seen him, like, in real life. As much as I love him, I wouldn't necessarily Google his credits and work out what year I went. Because that's the other thing, you never remember when you've gone or when the cast was. Trying to work out the other week who my second Marius was bothered me immensely. And I honestly can't even remember who it was, because when I Googled it, because I foolishly did not buy a programme, I realised that I had seen it, my second time of Les Mis, still Geronimo Rauch. I'd seen Celinda, and I'm really terrible at pronouncing her name, Celinda Schoonmaker. I'd seen her West End debut as Fantine. I didn't know I'd seen her before Phantom. Like, my mind was blown. I love her. I think she's got such an incredible voice, and I didn't realise that when I'd cried buckets at I Dreamed a Dream the second time, because I did, that's when I went the second time. I was prepared to cry, but not that early. It was Cylinder that made me go, which is like, I didn't realise that was the case. So, well done, Cylinder. Final one from my collection is I found this in the Wicked programme, and you really can't see it because the lighting is appalling. But it's a slip that they put in the programme when I went to go see Wicked. I didn't love Wicked. I liked it, don't get me wrong. I didn't love it. It was good. But yeah, it says, at this performance, Mr. Christopher Howell will be appearing in the role of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz in place of Mr. Desmond Barrett. And Mr. Kieran Brown will be appearing in the role of Dr. Dillamond in place of Mr. Christopher Howell. Kieran Brown is like, he was the first cover Phantom for ages and ages. He was the first cover Phantom when I saw most of the times I've seen Phantom. I never saw him in the role, but I would have loved to. He is, when you go, or like you see West End Live or whatever, and the Barricade Boys are there, Kieran Brown is one of the ones that you always get. Yeah, there's like a couple of staples that you seem to always get in the Barricade Boys, and he's one of them. He's phenomenal. He does such an amazing Phantom and such an amazing version of Music of the Night and all the rest of it. It kind of blew my mind a little bit that I'd seen him in something else and I didn't know about it. You know, I had no clue that I'd seen him before until I happened to look up this. So yeah, that was, I mean, I'm still gutted that I didn't see Rachel Tucker as Elphaba, but you know, I met her at West End Live, that counts for something, right? And she's really lovely, and she's a fellow ginger, and she told us all to be careful of the sun. Like, yeah, my head swelled up from sunburn. Thanks, Rachel. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's my collection, and I was flicking through it the other day, genuinely aghast at some of the people that I'd seen that I hadn't realised that I'd seen. I also worked out that over time, I've seen most of the boys from the film version of Les Miserables. You know, most of, like, the students that die. I've seen most of them. I've seen Kieran Donnelly. Did I say Kieran Donnelly? I was crossing Kieran Brown and Killian Donnelly, even though Kieran Brown isn't in the film. I've seen Killian Donnelly, I've seen Ewan Lewis, yeah, Fraffy, seen him. So I'm like, I don't know, I think about 5/6 of the way through if I had to express it as a fraction of all of those. Obviously, I've never seen Eddie Redmayne. Jesus, that'd be worth writing home about, wouldn't it? But then, when the other day I went to go get the suitcase, it kind of like made me chuckle that it was full of stuff like that that had been kept for all this time. So amongst it, there is probably 7 underground maps of London. I know not why. But if you ever want to go on the underground of London from about 1956, please do hit me up, because I'm more than capable of working out a map from that. So shout me if you need anything. I found many things that amazed me. So I found a programme from the old Windmill Theatre, which the Windmill Theatre as a theatre still physically stands, but it's not the same. If you've ever seen the film Mrs. Henderson Presents, it's a really good film. Judi Dench. It's about Mrs. Henderson who bought a theatre when she was widowed, and she put on like the first nude review in Britain. I'm slightly nervous to open the pages because I feel like I might get taken down for terms of service and pornography or something. Find a reasonable page. I mean, you probably can't see it too well, so it probably doesn't matter. But he's got the programme of like some of the scenes that were there, and we think that he went to go see it on his honeymoon, which would have been 1955. So he's kept his programme since 1955. And if you've got 15 shillings, I think it's 15 shillings, I'm really not clear on this, I want to say that, you can buy Vivian Van Damme's book. So hit me up if you want 15 shillings worth of book, I can sort you out. You can also send 5 shillings and 6pence to get a whole plate reproduction of any of the nude prints within this. I'm not sure if that's still an offer that stands. But yeah, it amazed me that the Windmill Theatre is such a famous theatre, and there is you know, evidence of that's what he went to go see on his honeymoon. So there you are. One thing that I did really love was the fact that on the 8th of June 1954, because the ticket is inside it, in the Blackpool at the Opera House, he went to go see a show that included the Tiller Girls and Tony Hancock. Now, to put this into perspective, it was the back end of 1954 that Tony Hancock had Hancock's Half Hour commissioned by the BBC. So really what happened here is we have a before they were famous programme from Tony Hancock, like one of the most well-known, famous, brilliant comedians of his era. Yeah, this is kind of the comedy equivalent of me finding those programmes where I'd seen loads of musical theatre stars that I loved. He'd gone and seen Tony Hancock in a before they were famous kind of appearance when he was going around doing seaside resorts, which just blew my mind a little bit. And there's loads more like that. There's loads where he's gone to go see, like, I don't know, like, I mean, there's black and white minstrel shows which are questionable, let's be fair. Let's not beat around the bush here, it's iffy. But you saw young Lenny Henry immediately after he'd won, is it New Faces, I think, one or the other that he was on. So yeah, there's loads of stuff like that. I'm literally just leafing through now, as you can probably tell. There were some really good Gemma Craven type appearances that I was like, oh, I've seen her, that's pretty cool. Many of them that are worth kind of looking at. Now, I'll get into my favourite one, and this is the one that perfectly illustrates the moral of this blog, which is always keep your damn tickets, people, because what we've got here is a programme that I honestly don't know when it's from, and I wish that somebody would write it in, but I have actually looked it up. I don't know the exact date, but it's from 1955, so I'm guessing it's honeymoon. Went to go see Cole Porter's Can, which I genuinely never heard of, even though, like, it's Cole Porter and, you know, he's a musical kind of right up there god. Yeah, you look through the cast list. Oh, okay, yeah, Bernard Quinn, don't really know who he is. Richard Lawrence, yep, all well and good. Peter Swanick, yep. Oh, who have we got playing somebody called Claudine? Gillian Lynn. Dame Gillian Lynn. And I got so curious about this, I had to look it up on Wikipedia. And this was one of the first things that Gillian Lynn did after she kind of stopped doing proper ballet, if you like, and went into, like, West End. So this was one of her first big West End performances, and she's all through this programme, like, pictures of her looking really young. I mean, Gillian Lynn died last year. I say last year now, even though it's only, like, 2 days since the end of the year, but whatever. But yeah, it says Gillian Lynn, a 25-year-old long-limbed premiere dancer. Yeah, there she is. One of her earliest roles, 25. Gillian Lynn, for those of you that don't know, choreographed Cats. She choreographed the 25th anniversary Phantom. She is the only woman in West End history to have a theatre named after her when she hasn't been royal. So there's lots of queens this, queens that, Victoria, that, the other. Nobody other than Gillian Lynn has had a theatre named after them without being a royal that is female. And that happened, like, not long before she died. At one of Andrew Lloyd Webber's theatres, he named in her honour, which I thought was amazing. Yeah, that's incredible. And here she is at 25. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's a list of all her credits. It's basically, she's been at the Devon Drama Festival, and she was principal dancer in various ballets, but the actual West End credits are really, really not good. There's nothing there. This is one of the first things that she did. This is insane that these things exist, and this is why I keep all these programmes and why I always put the tickets inside, because I want to be able to look back in 10, 20, 30 I mean, hell, 64 years, and say, I saw them. Can you believe I saw that person? Mum and Dad have got a programme somewhere, and I must get them to look it out one day. When they saw young Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was she was a swing, I think. She was an understudy for somebody anyhow. And so when people get snotty about understudies, I'm like, Mum and Dad saw an Oscar winner, what are you going to do about that? You know? Gillian Lynn. I'd love to be able to look back in like 40 years and go, you'll never guess, I saw Luke McCall as a swing. Would you believe, oh, do you remember Jordan Luke Gage? Proper, renowned performer. Saw him when he was the first cover. What are you going to do about that? I think these things are really important, that you look back and see where these people have started from. And when people get snotty about understudies and stuff like that, I just think, have you any idea who some of the people that have done that in their past were? Just get a grip on yourself. There's some phenomenal performers that are in these programmes that I've had, and that they're in these programmes that have come out of Grandpa's Loft. And yeah, I grant you, I might not know all of the names. I'm not going to have heard of 1950s West End musical theatre stars, all of them. But looking through it and seeing Gillian Lynn and Tony Hancock and, various things from the Windmill Theatre, which was really famous, that's really cool. So if you're ever happening across the theatre or go see a production of something, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter, if it's West End or if it's touring or what it is, just get yourself a programme. Because I promise you, when you look back at it in various times to come, you will be amazed at some of the performers. And next time you go to the theatre and see a different person to what you're expecting on the cast board, you know what? Get a programme, make a note of who you've seen, because you will not regret it when you look back in years to come and say, saw them first, saw them before they were famous. It's satisfying. It's really satisfying. And then in years to come, maybe your grandkids can look through your old suitcases and be amazed that you've got programmes of topless ladies behind fans doing tableaus. The only thing is, I really, really want to go watch Mrs. Henderson Presents now, so I'm going to have to go spend some time digging that out of the DVD collection. Which, if you want to know a bit more about the Windmill Theatre, by all means, look that one out. You can't go far wrong. You really can't go far wrong. And, they did do a musical of that as well, which is very interesting. Didn't put it on at the Windmill Theatre, but I bet if you saw that, that's an interesting programme. Because, I've got the original, and I do feel smug about it.